After spending 17 years building a massive corporate empire right from the scratch in a foreign country, you survive unpredictable market conditions, you invest $500 million, and then you become a largest player in your particular sector. And on top of that, you also hire 10,000 people. What a story, right? But in less than 24 hours, the value of that entire investment drops to absolute zero. Hello friends, welcome to ARK Reflections IAS. I am Yogi Raj. This happened not because the company went bankrupt. Okay, it did not happen because of that. It also did not happen because the services of your company failed. No, it happened because the president of your country had a very short-sighted geopolitical decision. Now, this is exactly what Turkey's corporate giants are facing right now here in India. This is a textbook case of economic statecraft where India is now completely rewriting all of the rules as to how national security intersects with global commerce. On May 15, 2025, something had happened in India. India's Bureau of Civil Aviation Security did something very unprecedented. Now, it abruptly revoked all of the security clearance of Celebi Aviation's India subsidiaries. There was no transition phase, there was no warning, and there was a zero grace period. The company was ordered to freeze all of its operations immediately on the spot. Now, why did a single administrative regulator cause a $500 million heart attack in Istanbul? The answer lies in the shifting landscape of modern conflict. You see, things are happening very differently right now. See, the actual physical shutdown happened last year, but the story has forced its way back into global headlines now because of the Turkey's corporate leadership now finally breaking their silence, while the Turkey or the Turkey is running desperate damage control behind the scenes. So before the hammer fell, Celebi, which is this particular company, was the absolute backbone of ground handling at 9 of India's busiest and the most critical hubs, including Delhi, including Mumbai and also Bengaluru. They handled well over 58,000 flights annually. But when the revocation order hit, the cleanup was clinical and it was very fast. Their heavy runway equipment was completely seized by the government. Their operating contracts were immediately terminated. In a single day, their 10,000 employees were systematically transferred to the rival domestic operators. Celebi immediately filed an emergency petition with the Delhi High Court, arguing that they were a private entity completely separate from the Turkish state. But the court dismissed the challenge. After reviewing the confidential sealed intelligence dossier from the government, the bench ruled that the state cannot be forced to wait for a crisis to protect its realm. To understand this from a strategic perspective, we have to look at why airport ground handling is treated as a zero compromise security zone. Why not just view it as a routine commercial contract for moving the baggage and cargo? Because that's what they do. They simply move the baggage and cargo, right? No. See, the reality is that the ground handling agencies hold the keys to physical underbelly of the aviation infrastructure. They have unescorted access to the tarmac zones. They also have access to the aircraft computer systems, cargo hold screenings, passenger credentials, and sensitive VIP coordinates. If a foreign state adopts a hostile posture against your particular country, allowing a company of that foreign state to control these sensitive access points is 1. Unacceptable, and 2. It is also vulnerability. In geostrategic terms, this is preemptive defense statecraft. Now friends, obviously it did not happen just like that. There had to be some sort of trigger. What was the actual threshold that broke New Delhi's patience? Think about it. See, the catalyst was Operation Sindoor 2025 May. Following a cross-border terror strike in Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam, which claimed 26 Indians' lives, India launched a precise 88-hour military counteroffensive against the terror launchpads in Pakistan. During this security window, Turkish President Erdogan chose a particular side. He chose Pakistan. He publicly condemned India's actions and expressed absolute solidarity with the alleged country of peace, that is Pakistan. Worse still, Pakistani forces deployed advanced Turkish-made military hardware and drones during the border escalation. New Delhi's response was sharp reality check. See, you cannot supply the hardware used to target Indian soldiers on Monday and expect to do business as usual in India's critical transport hubs on Tuesday. Not happening. Now, what the policy architects in Turkey clearly underestimated is that the modern security reprisal is rarely a single isolated event. It almost always triggers a financial domino effect across multiple sectors. So was Celebi the only casualty of this particular geopolitical fallout? No, it was not the only one. The economic freeze rippled through every major Turkish asset in our country. A $27 million contract with a Turkish firm for automated metro fare systems in Indore and Bhopal have been cancelled. Construction giant Gulemark was pushed out of major infrastructure projects in our Lucknow and Surat. And even before this, India walked out of a massive $2 billion naval shipbuilding construction deal with Turkey's Anadolu shipyard. Simultaneously, India's largest retail distribution federation, controlling nearly 13 million local mom and pop shops, called for a nationwide boycott of Turkish goods. Overnight, Turkish packaged brands simply vanished from Indian retail shelves. You must now be understanding the scale of economic damage done to the Turkey. Now, when you map these events out, you will begin to see the sheer absurdity of what Erdogan has done. His absolute foreign policy miscalculation. Look at the data on your screen. In 2024, Turkey's bilateral trade with India stood at nearly $8.5 billion. Okay, and it was on a upward trajectory. And what is the trade with Pakistan? Just $1.3 billion. And that too with an economy that is permanently staying afloat due to IMF emergency bailouts and foreign loans. By sacrificing a deep commercial tie with a booming $4 trillion economic engine to please just an ideological ally, Turkey has effectively locked its industrial sectors out of the fastest growing market on the earth, that is Bharat. However, the most profound takeaway here is not just about economic penalties. Our profound takeaway here is that India's aggressive structural realignment in Turkey's own backyard. Now, how does a sovereign nation permanently neutralize a persistent diplomatic adversary? How does it do that? It builds a heavy strategic presence and leverage the adversary's immediate rivals. An enemy's enemy is always usually a friend. That's what they say. India did exactly that. New Delhi moved swiftly to become Armenia's largest defense partner, exporting advanced indigenous artillery, Pinaka rocket launchers, and anti-tank missile systems. At the same time, India elevated its maritime and military cooperation with Greece and Turkey's main pain point, Cyprus. A strong blow to Turkey is the structural blueprint of India, Middle East and Europe Trade Corridor, a global infrastructure mega project explicitly designed to bypass Turkey entirely. Now, this brings us back to why this case study actually matters right now. Is Turkey trying to fix its diplomatic blunder? Is that what it's trying to do? They are trying desperately. At recent International Defense Summit in Singapore, Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan tried to smooth things over, publicly stating that Turkish relationship with Pakistan should not be interpreted as hostility towards India. But New Delhi is completely unmoved by this. The era of firewalling businesses from national security interests is officially over. If your state's military exports directly threaten Indian lives, if that happens, your corporate entities will find the doors to Indian economy completely permanently locked out. Simple as that. Friends, was India a bit too aggressive or was the reaction proportional? What are your thoughts? Comment below. And those of you who are writing their UPSC in the years 2027 or 2028, ARK Reflections IAS is launching a complete comprehensive Prelims cum Mains GS Foundation course. Here, each and every subject will be covered in absolute depth from both Prelims and Mains point of view, starting from absolute basics. Admissions are in progress, seats are limited, so please hurry up and call us at this number, that is 9177 751300, and our team will be happy to assist you. This is me, Yogiraj. Thank you for watching. Jai Hind.